Hi and welcome, Todd Cahill. You're listening to the It's Not Out There, but It's In You podcast, where on this podcast we talk all about the battles that we all face in our life and really how the battles that we face affect us and how we can think differently about each battle and start redefining its meaning so we can start relinquishing its power over us. See, it's a choice you have to make every day to become the best you. So we want to help you return to the battle at hand, the issues that you face, redefine what their meanings are, and then repeat the cycle over and over in order to keep winning the battle that you face. So stay tuned. So glad you're here. Thanks for listening. Hey and welcome, this is Todd Cahill and you're just joining us on my podcast, It's Not Out There, It's In You, where we talk everything you versus you and really the ways to kick your own ass and win, you know what I mean? And that's really the premise of this podcast is how to kick your own ass, right? You don't want other people to kick your ass. How about kicking your own ass, right? Today's topic is going to be interesting because this is one of the biggest battles that I think all of us as individuals face, and that's you versus your health. And I haven't discussed this topic yet on my podcast, so I'm excited to bring that to you today. So hi and welcome. And this is episode 14, You versus Your Health. You can get my book that came out not even 2 months ago on Amazon right now, Target, Barnes & Noble. You can also go to my website, youversubook.com, and get a copy for yourself or more for free. You just have to pay the shipping of $7.95 while supplies last. And definitely get yourself a copy of this book because I know it's going to not only kick your own ass, but it's going to help you to win. And I think winning is everything, especially when it comes to the battle of you versus you. So today we're going to talk about your health. Now, there's been more articles, there's been more documentation written about you versus your health than ever before. But why is it that 33% of Americans right now are obese? If you look around, obviously you're not seeing a ton of people in shape, a ton of people, not overweight. It's a very touchy subject, I think, with a lot of people as well, because you can't go around and saying, well, everyone's fat and, or I'm fat. It's one of those things where body shaming is a real thing. And we have to, of course, be sensitive to people's medical conditions and stuff like that. And I get that. But I want to dive into this, kind of take a different approach than normal and not just, again, give you knowledge, talk about, okay, this is how you get healthy. You're going to do a carb load here, a protein intake here, because everyone's different. So I want to drive home today the philosophy and really some of what I wrote about in my book, just to give you a taste and really help shift maybe the perspective, because I know that we're all battling this on a day-to-day basis. And if you have lost this battle many, many times over, maybe we can redefine it for you. Maybe we can take the battle of you versus health and you versus your health and maybe just redefine it for you. Because I know so many people out there are struggling with this battle and they're struggling constantly every single day. So first of all, what has the battle done to you? And how has it caused maybe defeat in your life? And you just have tried every diet, you've tried every supplement, you've tried every lotion and potion out there, but you're just not losing the weight or you're just not feeling your greatest. And maybe there's some health issues and some concerns. Well, let me first off tell you one thing, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Every single one of us are fearfully and wonderfully made, and our body is the temple. God's created us to do great things with our life, and He's also created our bodies to do miraculous things. And of course, we're constantly fighting disease. We're constantly fighting sickness, with this amazing body that we have. So I'm going to dive into this podcast today and really go through you versus your health and really what you need to do about it and how you can have the best health and what that's going to do and how that's going to transfer in your life now. I want to share a story with you real quick. It happened in 2009. I'm going to start off this podcast just sharing a story because I like to listen to stories, because especially when they're relevant to what I want to learn and get better at. But one day in 2009, a lady by the name of Susanna Callahan woke up alone in a strange hospital room, strapped to her bed under guard and unable to move or speak. A wristband marked her as a flight risk in her medical records, chronicling a month-long hospital stay of which she had no memory at all, showed hallucinations, violence, and dangerous instability. Susanna had been a totally normal and healthy 24-year-old when she began experiencing strange symptoms like hallucinations, extreme paranoia, slurred speech, and seizures. Professionals and specialists theorized everything from partying too much to schizophrenia to bipolar disorder. Nothing was clear except one thing. She was on an inexplicable descent into madness. During her month at the hospital, a team of doctors tried to pin down a medical examination for what was happening. Every day that went by, her mental and physical health deteriorated, and her family watched in horror as the girl they knew slipped away. It wasn't until a physician asked her to draw a clock, a test normally given to people suspected of having dementia or Alzheimer's. And she drew all the numbers 1 through 12 on the right side of the clock face that they started to figure it out. The right side of her brain, which regulates the left side of the body, was inflamed. That realization led to a brain biopsy and a diagnosis of the extremely rare but treatable autoimmune disease called anti-NMDAS, receptor encephalitis. So rare, in fact, that Callahan was only the 217th person to have been diagnosed with it. What's most terrifying is how close she came to not getting the diagnosis. They caught it in a catatonic stage that precedes breathing, failure, coma, and sometimes death. The brain biopsy enabled the right treatment to be found, and gradually she started to recover, but without it, who knows? Here's my point. Health is often not valued until sickness comes. Do you ever appreciate, or do you only appreciate being healthy until you're not? When's the last time you gave your body a big, giant thank you? And that's where we want to return, okay? So what we want to do is we want to return in the battle of you versus your health. We want to return to the battle that we faced. And we want to really, first of all, get some self-awareness of how, first of all, amazing, even if you don't feel 100% right now or your full, complete self, as long as you're walking and as long as you're alive, you have to start to be grateful. That's really the first step to winning the battle of you versus your health, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. For instance, do you still have your tonsils? How about your wisdom teeth? Your appendix? All things you can live without, yet are born with anyway. I have all of these. Luckily, I didn't have the surgery for any of these yet, but all things that are seemingly useless, but not so fast. Everything that we have in our body is not useless, okay? Just because they're not necessary for survival doesn't mean they're useless. Tonsils are tissues at the back of your throat and that filter out bacteria and viruses. Just think about all the times they may have been used from a respiratory infection and you didn't even know it. Since they're dealing with bacteria all day, every day, they're prone to infection and often have to be removed. Your appendix is a thin, 4-inch long tube that lives where your large intestine meets your small intestine. Researchers say that it acts as a safe house for good bacteria, which can be used to repopulate the gut after an illness washes out old bugs. A blockage in the lining of the appendix causes it to become inflamed and swollen, and that's when it's commonly removed. Wisdom teeth are the third and final set of molars to come in, usually between 17 and 25 years of age, in the so-called age of wisdom. Back in the pre-toothpaste days, an extra row of teeth was handy, especially since our ancestors had to chew a diet of uncooked, hard items like roots, nuts, and meat. When there's a lack of space, your jaw should be big enough for another set of molars, but sometimes jaws are too small or teeth themselves are too big. Then wisdom teeth are surgically removed. Can we just take a minute and marvel at our body and its inner workings? I remember breaking my wrist as a kid and going to the hospital. The doctor held up the x-ray and explained that I broke 2 of the 27 bones in my hand. 27 bones in my hand. And did you know that each of your feet has 26 bones, 33 joints, and more than 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments? It's crazy what the body is, and it's something that we just have to appreciate. And don't even get me started on all the bones, muscles, and nerves in our face. Our bodies are intricate, extensive, methodical, and completely amazing. We're alive right in this moment because of our biological systems are each successfully carrying out their specific functions. Every part of us has a purpose. Every cell has a mission. Now bear with me as I continue to prove my point, as well as make my high school anatomy teacher proud of my retention. We have 11 major organ systems that all do something different. Through each one depends directly or indirectly on all of the others. The skeletal system consists of 270 bones at birth, but decreases to 206 in adulthood after some bones have fused together. The nervous system controls voluntary action like conscious movement and involuntary actions like breathing. And then there are more nerve cells in the human brain than there are stars in the Milky Way. Isn't that crazy? The digestive system allows the body to break down and absorb food, and it produces approximately 2 liters of saliva a day to help. The circulatory system moves blood, nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and hormones around the body. And it's quick, taking only 20 seconds for a red blood cell to circle the whole body. You get the picture. Amazing, right? Our bodies seem almost limitless. Some people, let me just say this again, okay? I want you to really think about this. Some people make it their life's work to test the limits of their body. Stuntmen like Evel Knievel and Harry Houdini perform daredevil acts that make you question stability and feasibility. Olympic athletes like Michael Phelps and Lindsey Vonn reinvent the outputs that you can ask your body to deliver. Tennis prodigies Venus and Serena Williams bring a whole new consciousness to how much wear and tear your body can endure. And then there's someone like David Blaine, the famous magician and endurance artist who attempts feats that are impossible, as in the human body is not meant to withstand them. He froze himself in a block of ice for 3 days and 3 nights. He was buried alive in a coffin for a week. He stood on top of a 100-foot pillar for 36 hours. He lived in a glass box for 44 days with nothing but water. You could argue that he's an illusionist who makes a living doing sleight of hand magic, which is true when he's doing card tricks, but to him, magic also means defying the boundaries of human limitation. And then there's nothing illusionary about it. In 2006, he wanted to see how long he could go without breathing. How long could he survive on nothing, not even air? An average person in good health can hold his or her breath for about 2 minutes, but the world record for static apnea, holding your breath in one place without moving, was set at 8 minutes and 32 seconds. After some preliminary attempts underwater, Blaine knew it would be harder than he thought. A doctor friend told him that since he was a magician, he should just create an illusion of not breathing and it would be much easier. He entertained the suggestion and these ideas followed. Insert a tube with an attached balloon into his lungs and somehow recirculate his air. Add a chemical to the water called perfluorubrum that can allow for liquid breathing. Hide a heart-lung bypass machine with a tube that goes into his artery and oxygenates his blood. But the craziest idea of all was to actually do it. In preparation to adapt his body to survive in water without air was beyond intense and required exceptional amounts of discipline. He lost 50 pounds. The idea was to get his body as lean as possible because less mass requires less oxygen to survive. Increased his lung capacity by doing exercises where he circumvently held his breath for 44 out of 52 minutes every morning for months. And he put himself in extreme situations like swimming with sharks to learn how to slow his heart rate down under duress. It was finally the night of his big attempt, and in front of a televised audience of millions, he failed. During the big live prime time television special, he went into awful convulsions and blacked out, and they pulled him out of the water tank 2 minutes shy of the record. He felt sorry for himself, only long enough to decide to try again. This time he upped the ante by going after a different, longer record, a pure O2 static apnea record that Guinness had set at 13 minutes. It entails breathing pure O2 first to oxygenate your body and flush out the CO2 prior to holding your breath underwater. He gave himself 4 months to prepare and train. He worked with free divers in the Cayman Islands who swim down to hazardous depths without any breathing equipment. He slept in a hypoxic tent that simulated altitude at 15,000 feet. He dropped his resting heart rate to 38 beats per minute, which is lower than most Olympic athletes. On April 30th, 2008, David Blaine set the world record by holding his breath underwater for 17 minutes and 4 seconds. What has impressed you about your own body? Okay, great, crazy story, right? But let me ask you this. What has impressed you about your own body? Maybe you've given birth, excelled at a sport, memorized the periodic table, overcome an illness, function during the day after getting no sleep that night before, quit smoking, run a marathon, You may not be Knievel, Phelps, Williams, or Blaine, but your body contributes to your success. Scratch that. Your body is imperative to your success. The body fuels the mind fuels your beliefs fuel your worldview fuels your opportunities fuel your success. So to think your health has little to do with your success is incredibly ignorant or utterly arrogant. So when you're trying to win the battle of you versus your health, here's what needs to happen. You need to redefine the whole battle within itself. Winning the battle between you versus your health means training your body to work for you instead of letting your body work against you. And that is the key, to train up your body, understand what it's capable of, and go from there. See, back in the day, getting fat would have given you the edge. When food was scarce, hunter-gatherers needed to store backup reserves of energy because they couldn't always guarantee when or where they'd find their next meal. Even after the birth of agriculture and the rise of complex civilization, few people feared becoming overweight. In fact, throughout much of the world and for most of human history, being fat was a sign of success. And wealth was that demonstrated you could afford enough food to add extra pounds. For women, perceptions surrounding health and beauty have definitely evolved over the span of time. From ancient Greece in 500 BCE all the way through the golden age of Hollywood in the 1950s, the ideal woman was full-figured with an ample bosom. Think Marilyn Monroe. Except for a respite in the roaring 20s, when beauty featured an androgynous look for women, they wore bras that flattened their chest and clothing that gave them a curveless look. The curvy and large-breasted physique has been the norm. It wasn't until the 1960s that the willowy thin woman became the new standard, and it's been all over the place ever since. From athletic with toned arms to wayfish with translucent skin to large butt with a thigh gap. The evolution of men hasn't been any more consistent. Starting around 800 BCE, the ancient Greeks erected statues of men that were muscular and lean. Then the introduction of the Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci during the Renaissance showed a body that was neither thin, fat, lean, nor muscular, but perfectly proportioned. Fast forward to the Gilded Age in the early 1900s, where weight equaled status again, signifying plenty of money and no need to do hard labor. The 1920s pressured men to be thin, especially in Hollywood, when the camera added 10 pounds, and the 1930s and 40s were all about strength when Charles Atlas burst onto the scene as the first fitness guru who launched the first real fitness movement. Besides some thin, lanky style icons like David Bowie and Mick Jagger in 1960s and 70s, who definitely acquired some devoted followers, this standard consistently swayed towards hard-bodied. And that brings us to today, where the popularity of six-pack abs are getting a run for their money by dad bods. What we can learn from these drastically changing body standards throughout the years. Living up to any kind of arbitrary ideal is a pointless pressure. A 2012 study used 3D visualization software to estimate male and female body preferences. 40 female and 40 male participants were asked to produce a photorealistic virtual physique to set their own ideal size and shape and the size and shape of their ideal partner. What the females thought of an ideal for themselves was similar to what males thought their ideal partner would be, a relatively low BMI combined with a relatively curvaceous body. And what the males thought of an ideal for themselves was similar to what females created as their ideal partner, a slightly heavier, muscled body with a specific V-shaped upper body. It's good to know we're all on the same page. An interesting observation, both male and female participants created an ideal body that was significantly different in body size relative to their own. While the female participants reduced their body size, the male participants increased theirs. So basically the females want to be thinner than they are, and the males want to be more muscular than they are. Wanting what we don't have is nothing new, nor is going to the extreme lengths to try to get it. A worldwide consensus from 2014 showed that global wellness market was estimated to be worth $3.4 trillion. Think about that, $3.4 trillion, the worldwide consensus of global wellness in the world. That's how big the market is, $3.4 trillion, making it 3 times larger than the 1 trillion worldwide pharmaceutical industry. Wellness, health and wellness is one of the world's largest and fastest growing industries and includes sectors like alternative and complementary medicine, beauty and anti-aging, fitness and mind-body, healthy eating, nutrition and weight loss, preventative and personalized health, and workplace wellness. The most significant growth since 2010 was the 108% increase in the healthy eating and nutrition market to $276.5 billion annually. It seems that people are prioritizing their health and investing in themselves and their longevity more and more each day as we go. Okay? And I don't know about you, but I believe this is probably true for you, because it seems that people are prioritizing their health and they are investing in their longevity. But one has to ask this question: is it in order to live up to ever-changing ideals of what your body should look like? Or is it because you really do care about your health? Are you asking how good can it because you care about your health? Or are you asking how can I look? Or how healthy can I be? Winning the battle between you and your health is only possible if it's won on your own terms. It cannot be prioritized because society tells you it should, or because you've competing with one of the Kardashians, or because you want to relive the glory days of your pre-middle-aged physique, okay? Now, I don't know where we find you on that, but let me just continue to share this with you. What did you eat today? That's the question I want to ask you. What did you eat today? We all know that having a nutritious, well-balanced diet prevents weight gain and disease and has you fitting into the pants and you haven't fit in ages. But did you know that it can improve your mental and emotional health? Eating right. Our digestive system in particular is equipped with an intricate system of nerves that directly connects to the brain. So the state of your gut affects the state of your mind. Remember the last time you pigged out on a fast food binge or an overindulge at a buffet and you physically felt like crap? Exactly. I've been there so many times. I'm like, oh, I'm so hungry. I pig out, and all of a sudden, an hour later, 2 hours later, oh my gosh, it's like horrible. Eating well can also help you maintain stable blood sugar levels, which helps you feel energized and focused and leads to increased productivity. This is where the infamous food coma comes into play when you eat poorly, because much of the body's energy must then be used to digest the food you are eating, thus leaving you chronically tired. As far as multifaceted advantages go, the same is true for exercise. While it's traditionally been associated with physical health, a recent University of Georgia study proves that exercise has more holistic effects on the human body and includes effects on the psychological health, which means that in every workout, a single step isn't just a step closer to a healthier body, but also to a healthier mind. But I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. Aren't there times after a workout where you feel like you just went to therapy? I know I have. That's why I really, really enjoy working out. So here's what working out does. Improved fitness has also been linked to enhanced ability to solve problems, superior stamina and energy, and reduced stress and fatigue, all leading to better job performance. Researchers studied 210 workers whose employers offered an on-site exercise program, such as aerobic classes, yoga, and stretching, and made observations regarding days when the workers exercised versus days when they didn't. After exercising, not only did their mood and confidence increase, but their productivity went through the roof. They also found that study participants returned to work more tolerant of themselves and more forgiving of their colleagues. Interesting. Why in the world don't all employees provide such amenities? The bottom line is, besides all of the wonderful benefits of taking care of yourself, be it personal or professional, your body deserves it. It has earned it, and it never stops working for you, so why would you stop working for it? Love the process and not just the end result. When it comes to the battle of you versus your health, it is absolutely a process. You're not going to have a six-pack overnight. You're not going to be able to climb Mount Everest overnight, okay? You're not going to be able to do an Ironman overnight. I always sit down at the end of December each year to set my intentions for the coming year. And I don't know if you've done that, but I always love to do that. And I do that even many times throughout the year just to make sure I'm making sure that I'm in alignment with what I set out to do in the beginning of the year. And I don't believe in New Year's resolutions, especially when it comes to health. I believe in strategies, and I believe in making decisions, and I believe in executing on those decisions. And really, when it comes to you versus your health, it really comes down to the routine. What am I working out? What am I doing? What's the program that I personally need? What's my nutritional plan, et cetera, based on my goal? So what will the new year look like for my family, my clients, my marriage, my business, myself is the question that I ask myself when I'm setting my intentions for a new year. This past year, I decided to do one of the things on my list of personal goals. It was to compete in my first ever natural physique show. This type of show is in the bodybuilding competition realm, but it's edge in the non-allowance of performance-enhancing drugs. Okay, this is all natural. Big things require big commitment, and this was a huge commitment. I mean, we're talking 6 meals a day, this many ounces on the protein, this many ounces on the carbs, this many cups with the veggies, and this is how much water they have to drink. Very methodical. Every 3 hours you have to eat. With the help of my trainer, I meticulously plotted out a 16-week plan leading up to this event. Okay, this was a national qualifier. Workouts, coaching, supplements, meal prep, you name it, I did it. Okay, not only would this level of preparation keep me accountable, but it would help me become more disciplined, which would manifest in all aspects of my life. And that's why I really wanted to do it, because I wanted to, see it carried over in other aspects of my life. It was very difficult. Of course, including how I run my business. I wanted to be methodical in that and more disciplined because I do work from home. So I wanted to take that to the next level. And I also would like to take a moment to promise you I haven't forgotten about the spontaneity or interruptions from obviously you versus your routine. So there's going to be interruptions. There was a lot in that process that I had to go through. But the average week has me doing about 5 days of cardio for 40 minutes each morning, then breakfast, then lifting weights for an hour. I eat 6 meals a day with supplements and sometimes a cheat meal once a week if I could. I bring my kids and my wife to the gym with me whenever they actually agree to come. And my wife and I work out together. And the kids, of course, when I have them, I usually beg them to come on to the gym with me and they can kind of watch and play their iPhone and stuff like that. So it really, has been a family affair in many cases. I give myself appropriate rest and pep talks in the mirror when doubt or fear creeps in. And this could be really related to anything that you do. Even if you haven't worked out a lot, you start working out again. So the whole thing scares me to death. Ironmans, I've done that. Marathons, I've done that. I've actually done quite well in those arenas. And of course, this bodybuilding competition last year, working hard, seeing results, seeing my body actually lose weight, but gain muscle mass at the same time, which kind of doesn't make sense. So I didn't really lose weight though, but I lost fat and gained muscle, which was amazing to see. But it really did scare me to death because it requires so much sweat, dedication, time, and hard work. And it's really out of my comfort zone. It's new and intimidating and exciting and exposing, all rolled out into one. And of course, attitude really came down to, I don't feel like it. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I still have to persevere. It forced me to grow with all the inevitable growing pains and habit changes that come with it. But I'm doing it because of the experience, observation, and mental aspect of pushing my physical body to its full potential. I'm agreeing to the grind because of what the journey will teach me. I'm committing to it because I want to inspire as many people as possible to treat their bodies like a temple. To win the battle between you and your health, ladies and gentlemen, you must honor your body for being the wonder that it really is. Here's to perfect being the healthiest you. Now, I don't know where I find you today in the journey of you versus your health, but let me tell you something just to kind of rewind. It is a miracle that you're even alive. I want you to really know that. It is a miracle you're standing. It's a miracle that you're even alive, that you were even born. So no matter what your health is, first of all, be grateful that you have another breath coming to you right now. You only get one body. And this is why I don't understand why people are obese or they get out of shape or they don't really take their health seriously. Luckily, I've always taken my health seriously, not just because I want to look my best and feel my best, but because I want to live long. And I want to do things in my life outside of my health and live a purpose-driven life and do the things that I was called to do. And I don't want to be stopped by health issues. So I want you to go look in the mirror. Instead of thinking about what you want to change so much and how you look, meditate on the miracle that you are. I want you to really meditate on that. You are a miracle. And focus on how limitless that you are, not on the limits that you have. Isn't that good? Focus on how limitless you are, not on the limits that you have, or put the limits on psychologically, that we all put the limits on ourselves, that we can't do something or we don't have the body or the mind to do it. The second thing I would ask you with taking action from this podcast is just start moving. So many options, so many plans. If you don't have a workout plan, if you don't know what to do in your health, just start moving. Commit to moving every day. Walk a mile, run a mile, bike a mile, row a mile. Do a mile every day for 7 days and you're going to see the progress. Ultimate health is about daily progress, not perfection. Eventually, you can maybe do a marathon or do an Ironman or half marathon or, a 5K, whatever it is, to build that confidence, to believe that you could do something. Of course, it's going to carry over in other aspects of your life and belief and confidence, etc. You got to keep moving though. Small changes over long periods of time produce the biggest results. Set goals that you can attain. Once you reach a goal, set another one, and then another one, and then another one, and another one. Enjoy the process of getting your body and mind to function at their full potential. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the battle that we're all going to face, you versus you. Your health matters, and you get to choose to win it on a day-to-day basis. And I hope this podcast, again, it's not out there, it's in you. My podcast is on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. We are bringing you the best content as far as how to equip you in the battle against you versus yourself. And it's a battle that we all can win because there is no competition. We're not competing against our boss. We're not competing against society. We're not competing against our neighbor, our best friend. We're competing every day against ourselves. And you might think you are. Maybe if you're even in sports, right? It's like, okay, we got to beat our opponent. No. You've got to beat your best. If you can beat your best, then all you can do is all you can do. And it's not about even beating your opponent or winning. It's about having a better game. It's performing better than you did the last game. And if the team constantly grows and the team constantly improves themselves, then it will be a winning team because everyone has chosen to get better in their weaknesses and strengths in the organization. And combined effort is a winning team. So even if you're a part of a team, a business, an entrepreneur, whatever have you, your health matters. So win this battle today. Go eat the apple instead of the chocolate bar. Make these little choices on a day-to-day basis. Start choosing right. Go from bad habits to good habits. I challenge you, and I'll end this. Be on our 66 Days to Change challenge. Go to www.66days2change.com. Be a part of it because we are creating a culture of people that work out over 4 times a week, meditate. They're getting results, but they're also understanding the mindset that it takes to get the best shape of their life, okay? So guys, thanks so much for listening to this podcast, and here's to your great health. Take care. God bless.